everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to Bookish Blonde, or if you're new here, welcome. So happy to have you. Today's video is going to kick off my third round of Read Like a Booktuber. So for this round, I reached out to Vicky over at Vicky's Book Nook because I have been watching her channel for years and years, and I really enjoy her channel. If you haven't heard of her or don't know about her channel, I will link it down below. Please check her out. She is so sweet and she has so many good book recommendations. And so when she said yes, she would help me out with this, I was thrilled. So Vicky's channel she reads a lot of historical fiction. She reads a lot of horror. I've always kind of gone to her channel when I'm looking for a scary horror book recommendation, and she really does this cool thing on her channel. It's 100 epic reads of a lifetime or something like that, and she has this poster she scratches off. It's a vlog series that she's been working on for years. I think her last installment of it, I think she's like around 70 or 80% of the way completed with this poster. So I really have been enjoying that series on her channel as well. So let's just get started. I am going to take 2 months to read the 3 books that she suggests and give you my thoughts. And I'm going to be using the cow pile rating system, just like I've done the previous two rounds. And these books I will be reading will cover May and June. So by the time you're seeing this, it's the end of June or around that time frame. So let's watch her video together and see what 3 books she has recommended for me.
Hey Jen, it's Vicky from Vicky's Book Nook, and I have some book recommendations for you that I really hope you enjoy. The first one I picked is a historical fiction book because I know that you enjoy your historical fiction, and this one is my favorite by this author, and it is Homecoming by Kate Morton. I've read all of her books, and this one is my favorite, and it's her newest one. She just is great at blending historical fiction with a mystery. I think you're really gonna like this one. And then the next one that I picked is kind of a mix of horror, because you know I had to recommend a horror book to you, but it's horror mixed with a little bit of maybe some family history, some family trauma, and that is The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. This is like a haunted house novel, but it also deals a lot with this particular family and their history. So I hope you really like it. And then the last one that I picked is The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. I picked this one because it is historical in the sense that it is a nonfiction book about something that actually happened, about a group of girls who were working in a watch factory where they were working with radium and had some pretty terrible consequences. So I think it's a very important nonfiction book to read, and because it deals with women's issues and women's rights and working rights, I think you'll really enjoy it. So those are my 3 picks for you. I really, really hope you like them, and I can't wait to see what you think. Happy reading.
Okay, yay, I'm so excited. I actually have 2 of the 3 books that she talked about. So Radium Girls, yes, is on my Goodreads as something I'm interested in reading. I will have to, I'll probably start by looking at my library. If I can't get it in print or via audio at my library, then I will have to buy it, which is fine too. So Radium Girls, nonfiction, I'm excited. I don't read enough nonfiction, so this is pushing me to read the nonfiction. And then I have Homecoming by Kate Morton. I think it's funny, we have Kate Moore and Kate Morton, but this is pushing me to finally pick up a Kate Morton. I own this one and I think 2 others, so I think I have 3 books by her and I've never tried her out. So I'm really excited. This actually sounds the best out of the 3 that I own. I'm most excited to pick this one up, so I'm very happy she picked this one. And then The Hollow Kind, which is actually a recent purchase for me, ironically. I got this from Pango, and it's a signed copy, which is really cool. It has this little signed plate inside, and cool end pages. So this is, well, she told you, the horror book. So I am very excited to get started. I don't know which one I'll pick up first, but you'll just have to wait and see. So per usual, I'm going to try to check in, you know, halfway or give you my initial thoughts and then give you my final thoughts, and we'll see how she does with these recommendations. All right, I'll see you guys in a minute. Hey everyone. Okay, so I decided to start with Radium Girls. I was able to quickly get it on audio from my library, so that's what I did, and I started listening. I have it on hold to go pick up like a physical copy just in case I feel like I don't like the audiobook. But I do. I like the audiobook. I'm about 100 pages in-ish is my best guess. And it's horrifying, you guys, what this radium was doing to these ladies, and that literally their bodies are like falling apart. It's crazy to me. It's reading like a documentary or a podcast more than, sometimes you'll get like a nonfiction that reads like an actual story, like, is this real or not real? But this one to me definitely feels more like a documentary, which isn't a bad thing, but there's just an observation. I think it's going to be hard to rate because nonfiction usually is hard for me to rate. I feel like if I don't rate something high, I'm just saying like, screw you, your story's not important, or your story sucks. So I hate rating nonfiction, but I'm going to just go strictly on my enjoyment level. So far, so good. Definitely, where I'm at the part, well, this could be a little spoilery, but it is true. So I'm at the part where Catherine, one of the main characters, is starting to think like, okay, we need some workers' like rights. We need to stand up for this. This is not right. No one believes us. Is the radium making us sick? This and that and the other. So definitely an important message. Definitely an important part of history, of course. So I'm enjoying it. It's just a little bit horrifying what these women are enduring. I'm assuming the physical copy will have some pictures and things in it, so I'm gonna go pick that up from my library probably later today. But I was out here just hanging out this morning. My son is on a work call in the library, so I got kicked out. No, I let him have the space. There's a door to close and everything. But yeah, so that's it for now. I will check in again and give you guys my final thoughts, but it's off to a really good start. Hey everyone. Okay, I am here to give you my rating for The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. I finished this, oh gosh, a couple days ago, but I just haven't had a chance to film. So I wrote, let me get my notebook here. Okay, so overall, I did enjoy this. It was a very chunky nonfiction for me. My only complaint, which I might hit on later, but I felt like it was 100 pages too long. However, the content was good. I felt like I did learn something new. I just felt like it could have been 100 pages shorter. As I've said probably before, it's hard for me to rate nonfiction because this is a real someone's personal true story, but I'm just going on my rating as my personal enjoyment at the time when I read the book to kind of take some of that pressure off me. So for characters, I'm giving it a 7. I did absolutely feel for these women and what they went through, of course, like how awful, but I didn't feel connected to any of them. Like, I didn't feel like it was happening to one of my friends or someone in my family, if that makes sense. Atmosphere, I'm giving an 8. I really like how vivid their working conditions were. And I felt like overall the atmosphere was strong and heavy, and you could feel the emotion in the atmosphere, if that makes sense. Like, it was described so well that I felt like I was there for part of it. For the writing style, again, I'm giving it just a 7. The writing style wasn't bad, but overall, like I said, I felt like it was too long, so I took off points under writing style for that one. Plot, I gave it a 6. I didn't really think there was much of a plot because I knew where the story was going, so that one, I don't even know if that's a fair rating because that was hard. Intrigue, 7. Like I said, I felt like it was a little long, but I was intrigued to find out, finish the book. I didn't want to DNF it or anything like that, of course. And then for logic and relationships, I did 8. I really liked how the women, how they bound together and the friendships that they made through these horrible working conditions. And I thought the author did a really good job pulling in a lot of different characters that were different people that were affected by this, what their lives look like, their families, all of the things. Yeah, in entertainment, I'm giving a 6. So overall, it was a 6. if you add those up in the system, you get a 4-star read. You get a 7, which in my rating is the beginning of a 4-star read. So 4 stars for Radium Girls. I'm definitely glad I read it. I know Kate Moore has more books out, and I would be interested in picking her up again. And now for my second read like a booktuber for Vicky is Homecoming by Kate Morton. So like I said, I finished that book a few days ago, so I have already started on this. I'm about 200 pages in. So I'm just gonna give you my first thoughts right here. My first thoughts are I am really enjoying this. I've actually been listening to it on audio. It took me a minute to figure out where I was on the audiobook as far as what timeline and all that. So I'm glad I had it physically to go back and just make sure it was making sense in my brain. So the audiobook is good, but overall the writing and the story is so good. I can't believe I've waited this long to read a Kate Morton. I'm definitely enjoying it. It is a slower burn feel type of book, but I do not feel bored. I feel like every word there is a purpose to the overall overarching story. The mystery is intriguing. I care for the characters, and I'm really liking it. So definitely glad I'm finally picking up a Kate Morton. So that is all. I will check in again for Homecoming as I continue to read. But Vicky, you're doing a great job. I will see you guys later. Bye. Hey everyone. Okay, I've read another 100 pages in Homecoming, and I'm still really enjoying it. I think it's good for people that have not read Kate Morton before to go in and make sure you have the mindset of like, I'm in a mood to read a book that I can get completely immersed in, that I might have to read a little bit slower, you know, pay a little bit more attention, because it's definitely worth it. She has such a smooth and captivating narrative style in her writing, which I'm really appreciating. There is a book inside of a book. Daniel Miller wrote a book, As If They Were Asleep. He was a journalist that wrote on this tragedy, so you got 2 timelines. And I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. I love books within a book. I didn't really pay attention to mention that before, because you don't get that until about 200 pages in, 180 pages in, or something like that. But yeah, she just writes such a vibrant and atmosphere. I feel like I've never been to Australia, but I feel like I kind of know exactly where I'm at, what Australia feels like and looks like, sounds like, all of it. So her detailed writing is something that I could see people might feel like, oh, it's not for me. Maybe the book was too long, but I'm really enjoying it. I went into this book knowing Kate Morton is a writer that is a little bit more slow burn. Obviously the cold case mystery in here is really interesting. But you really need to go in one of her books, in my opinion. I guess I've only read half of one, so how much of opinion can I have, right? Take it with a grain of salt. But you really have to go in a mindset, in a place where you can really sit with her and sit with the book. She's just really good at storytelling. This is such a multi-layered, multi-family, generational story with a cold case murder, and I kind of have an idea. I'm putting together what I think is going to be the whodunit and the why and all that. I think I kind of know what's going on, but she could turn around and surprise me, and I could be way off base. This is a 500-page book, so I'm definitely past the halfway mark. Maybe not definitely. I'm right there, so a little more than halfway. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's my thoughts right now. I'm taking a break to do a workout, but tomorrow should be my last day of work, so I'm really excited about that. And then I should be able to finish this week and give you my final ratings, and then get started on book 3. But my prediction right now is this is going to be 5 stars, because I'm really enjoying it. But we'll see. I still have a good probably 200 pages left, so we'll see. But that's it. Just wanted to give you guys an update, and I will keep you posted. Goodbye. Hey everyone. Okay, so I finished Homecoming by Kate Morton, and I'm here to give you my final thoughts. We'll talk about my rating. I really enjoyed this. I'm so glad I finally picked up a Kate Morton. It did not disappoint. Everything holds true to what I've said before as far as like, know what you're getting yourself into, make sure you're in the right mood for a slower burn, generational saga, multi-layered mystery, all the things. If you go in this thinking you're going to be hooked and be able to read right through it, no, you have to take your time with it, but that's not a bad thing. So let's talk about the reading. So for characters, I am going to give it an 8. I felt like the characters were very complex. They were very well layered. I felt like I didn't really connect with them to where I felt like it was happening to my best friend or I could relate to them in a lot of ways, but definitely they were well done. They were well thought out. Every character had a purpose of the story that really fit the overarching storyline through the timelines, if that makes sense. If you read it, you probably understand that. Okay, as far as for atmosphere, I'm going to give it a 9. This was my favorite part of the book. I felt like definitely was the biggest strength, or one of the biggest strengths of this novel. I felt like Adeline Hill's like was almost its own character in itself. You definitely felt like you were there. She did such a great job with the atmosphere, for sure. Writing, I'm going to give it an 8. Now, the writing is very strong. It's very elegant and emotionally rich. The prose was very lovely to read. Some may feel like this was a little bit overly descriptive, but it definitely, the writing fit the tone of the genre, which to me, this is a family saga, a literary mystery, that kind of vibe. So the writing, even though it was descriptive and the book was on the longer side and it was a slower paced book, the writing was great and it all fit together. For intrigue, I'm going to give it an 8. So this was not fast paced. If you like reading books where you slowly unravel secrets and slowly piece it together, the intrigue was there. It was definitely layered, like I've said before. It's not going to get a 10 because for me, it wasn't. Like, I also kind of guessed the outcome of the mystery, which I won't talk about. So kind of lost a point there too because I was able to figure it out. Logic. So for logic, it's logic in relationships, I believe, but for logic, we're giving it a 9 because I thought she did a really good job, very well structured with the 2 different timelines. There definitely were clues that would tie to the end of the book, the resolution of the book. So I thought as far as the book's logic went, it was a 9. It was really strong. And then for entertainment, the last one, I'm giving it an 8. I like this very much. And again, you have to be in the mood for literary mystery, family, saga kind of book. You know, if you're looking for something that's a little slower burn that you could really immerse yourself into with, a lot of emotional depth, then for sure you would enjoy this book. So all of that together is a rating of 8.3, which is a 4-star. So for the second book, I'm giving it, got another 4 stars. So let's hope this one's a 5-star. The next one I'm picking up is The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. This is a horror book, which I'm really excited that that Vicky gave me a horror recommendation because I look to her for different when I want something because I don't read a lot of horror. So I trust her recommendation. It has a map. This is a signed copy, and I'm very excited to get started. So I'll check in soon. Bye. Hey everybody, I'm here to do a check-in for The Hollow Kind. So I'm obviously driving, so I won't be looking at the camera that much, but I am headed to pick up my daughter from a week-long summer camp, a women's government summer camp at Bowling Green University. She's been living in a dorm for a week. It's all girls. I'm sure she's had a great time. Can't wait to hear about it. But yeah, I'm driving to pick her up, so I thought I would check in. So I'm about a quarter of the way through, and so far I am really enjoying it. I'm, from the very first page, been drawn in to the creepy Southern Gothic atmosphere. The book's taking place in Georgia. The Georgia woods are rotting and spooky and almost like a character in themselves. Davidson's writing is very lush and hypnotic is the way I can explain it. Unsettling from the first page, but kind of like a quiet intensity. About, like I said, a quarter way in, I'm realizing like, wow, I have been unsettled this whole time. I've read it with my eyeballs. I have listened to part of it on audio during this drive. I got it from my library. And yeah, his writing is just this horror is more like a whisper. It's like building up. The tension on every page is building up. The characters are very layered and realistic in the sense that even though we're getting characters from different time periods, but as I'm getting a little bit slowly revealed about the main characters as the reader, I am so worried for them. There's definitely something ancient and evil lurking around in the woods in the area, around this property that this woman has inherited and taken over. I feel like there's a lot of secrets in the town that we're going to get revealed, but overall it is very good so far. If the book continues the way it's going, it has potential for sure to be a 5-star, maybe even a favorite horror book. I don't read a lot of horror. I'm trying to branch into that genre a little bit more. And you know, Vicky is a go-to person for me if I want to look for a horror recommendation. And so she's doing great with recommending this. I'm really enjoying it so far. Yeah, that's it. But I'll check in again and let you guys know how the experience is going. Bye. Hey everyone. All right, so I finished the last book for Read Like Vicky, The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. So I'm going to break down my final thoughts based upon the Cowpile rating system, just like I've been doing. If I look down, I'm sorry, I have notes because this was a very dense book. We'll just start with that. So first C for character, I'm going to give it 8 stars. So Nellie and Max move into it's Nellie's like great-grandfather's home, and that's where all the bad things are happening. This is where the book takes place. And Nellie was a very fierce mother, which I appreciated. She was very compelling and believable. I really enjoyed her character. The current timeline was my favorite, even though a lot of the spooky stuff happened in the previous timelines, the older timelines. I think that Nellie and Max were my favorite characters. Max is her son, very intuitive and innocent, and you see him caught between, you know, innocence and horror and wanting to find the best in everything, not expecting the worst. And so I really like the mother-son dynamic that this book gave. And then August Redfern, who is how all the horror started back in the past timeline. I'll just leave it at that. I like what the author did with his character because through his character, you really got to see the horror of the land, how different generational things kind of keep passing down through this family. Also the greed and evil and exploitation, everything that surrounded that 1917 timeline in August Redfern was great. So I'm giving characters 8 out of 10. They were relatable, believable, but I didn't love all of them. Atmosphere was a 10. That was the best thing about this book. Definitely the book's strongest element. The atmosphere was so haunting and vivid and compelling, and the woods and the area that the farm, you know, the house was on was almost a character in itself. So that's going to get a 10. The atmosphere was great, very unsettling from page 1 to the last page. Writing's going to get a 7. So there was really some strong things in here for the writing. His prose was almost bordering like poetic almost. Definitely literary. It's beautiful, but it's dense. So the writing itself was great, but also part of the reason why this book wasn't like a solid 5 stars for me, because of how dense it was. And then the timelines going back and forth, to me, were a little bit jarring at times. And I did listen to part of this on audio, so I don't know if it would have helped if I read it all physically. And I think it's a me problem, not a book problem. But I felt a little bit confused, or had to be like, hey, wait a second. What's going on? Where are we in the story? What timeline are we in? That kind of thing. So it took me a minute to get the flow of that part of the writing down. But as far as the writing goes, as far as like the slow burn and the dread and everything written on the page, like I said, the atmosphere was 10 out of 10 for me. That part of the writing was great. And then for plot, I'm going to give it a 7. The plot was clever and intricately woven through the whole story, which I really appreciated. The plot was emotional, but also very unsettling. And the horror vibes in every single page. I'm not really giving it much justice how I'm describing it, but I didn't realize until about 75 pages in that I had been like unnerved the whole time I was reading this book. It's very subtle. The plot definitely keeps you invested, and it pays off, but it was a little bit hard to get hooked in the beginning because of how dense the writing is. I hope that's making sense. Intrigue is going to get an 8. Slow burn, you have to have a little bit of patience, but the intrigue is definitely there. Once you're in the book, you're in the book and you're intrigued, and you can't put it down for sure. But you have to take your time, or I had to take my time with this one a little bit compared to, like a fast-paced page-turning thriller, but this had a lot more substance in it. Logic is going to get a 7. So a couple times you have to take a leap of faith and to believe this is what's going on. The relationships and the logic go with logic. And like I said, the relationships I really liked, so I settled on a 7. And then E for enjoyment. Overall, I'm going to give it an 8. I loved the overall story. I did really appreciate the writing. It was definitely immersive, definitely horrifying. And I really liked it overall. So if you add all those up together, let's see, you get 7.85, which is 4-star read. So again, this whole system is working for me. Okay, so that wraps up round 3 of Read Like a Booktuber. Thank you, Vicky, again for participating and giving me awesome recommendations. I really did have such a fun time. 3 4-star books is an amazing outcome. In order, my favorite was Homecoming, then Holokind, then Radium Girls, but overall, I had such a great reading experience with all 3, and I'm so glad to have read some of your favorites. So yeah, thanks again for watching. As always, I'm excited to start round 4, and I'll be back in 2 months with another round. I hope you guys are reading something amazing, and I will see you in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.